This is the new Audi e-tron, and it's Audi's first ever all-electric production car.
No, it's not.
What do you mean?
The Audi R8.
Cameraman Jack is right. Between 2015 and 2016, Audi built an electric version of the R8. This is Audi's first proper built from the ground up to be an electric car. Now, this is a rival for cars such as the Jaguar I-Pace, the Mercedes EQC, and of course the Tesla Model X. And this Audi has a price tag to match. It starts from £71,500, though you can save an average of £3.5 grand off one through carwow. In fact, if you want to see how much money you can save on any new car, just click on the pop-out banner just up there, or follow the link below the video to go to carwow to check out the best deals from our trusted dealers. Let's start this review by talking about the e-tron's looks. So it doesn't exactly scream that it's an SUV. I do like this light bar at the back which runs the whole width of the car, and if you look down there, there's obviously no exhaust pipes or fake exhaust pipes, which Audi likes to fit to its cars these days, but it couldn't resist just putting some slats in there. Down the sides, as standard, you get 20-inch alloy wheels, but they rise up to 22. This car has colour-coded surrounds for the wheel arches. On some cars, you have them as black plastic, which makes it look a bit more off-roadery. Not sure what's going on with this bit here. It's like they had some spare plastic, so they just had to stick it on there. At the front, it's just like a normal Audi, really. The grille does look slightly different. This kind of like Venetian blind effects. It's got snatches going like that. Anyway, right, vents at the front. You've got some here, and the stick of truth reveals that they do actually serve a purpose. They smooth airflow down the side of the car to help improve the efficiency, so you can get the maximum range possible out the car's battery. The interior design of the e-tron is classic Audi, so it's quite minimalist, nicely laid out, and it's futuristic enough without being try-hard. Also like some of the material, so here on the dash it's really squidgy and nice, and up here, and if you want you can upgrade to have this as leather, and leather up here as well. You can also change the interior trims on the dash, and various bits are lovely, so squidgy here, soft there, shiny here, and shiny down there as well. That's great. But then bits just feel really cheap. Oh my God, that is like the cheapest plastic I've ever touched in my entire life. And here as well. Yet this is a car that costs over £70,000. That's insane. I don't know what they've done. Still, the beautiful looking screens do help make up for that. And that brings me on to this car's equipment list. As standard, the e-tron gets 3 glorious infotainment screens with inbuilt satellite navigation, internet connectivity, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also lovely leather seats which are electric and heated, and have a memory function too. And there's also dual zone climate control. Launch edition models add powerful matrix LED headlamps which can blank out part of their beam so you don't dazzle the drivers. They also get rear privacy glass and a black styling pack. Being an Audi, there are of course plenty of options to separate you from your cash. For instance, the Sound and Comfort Pack for 1,500 quid includes a 16-speaker Bang & Olufsen stereo, keyless go, 30 different interior ambient lighting colours, and a 360-degree parking camera. Okay then, let's talk about this car's infotainment system, and it's 3 screens. So this one up here is for most infotainment functions. The picture is really clean and crisp, and it comes with haptic feedback so that when you press a button it kind of clicks a little bit like your mobile phone does. Also, you can write your destination directly onto the screen, or you can use your smartphone navigation apps through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. There are voice commands as well. They're not the most extensive, but they are fairly decent. The smaller screen down here though, this controls all your climate control and stuff like that. Once again, when you press the buttons, they click so you know that you've hit the right one, but still it is more difficult to use than just actual physical buttons. What I can't complain about though is this digital driver's display. I think it's really, really good, and you can control most of the infotainment functions through the buttons on the steering wheel using that, which is blooming handy because this system isn't that easy to use while you're driving. Also, it's really crisp, really nice. The only downside with it is that if you're navigating via Waze or Google Maps from your phone, it won't actually put that sat-nav imagery up there. It'll only just do the inbuilt Audi system, which is annoying. And you know what? Overall, I think the infotainment system you have in the Mercedes EQC is slightly better. And if you click on the pop-out banner just up there, you can watch my full in-depth video review of that car. Let's talk about the layout of everything in here, and it's all pretty simple to use. There are a few odd things though, such as this pad here for obviously resting your hand on for controlling the screens. And then you've got the gear selector there like that, which is kind of a bit weird and unnecessary. It'd be much better if, like on a Mercedes, it was up here on the steering column. Speaking of which, you can upgrade to have an electrically operated steering column. And the driving position is quite adjustable. I like the fact that you can extend the bases like that for some more under thigh support here in the front. In terms of practicality, you got huge door bins, which is great, but then there's some weird stuff going on here. I know it's supposed to look futuristic, but I kind of feel there should be a cover on there. Now, underneath there are your cup holders, and it's fine for like big cups of coffee, but for the smaller ones, if you put them in there like that, when you go to get them out, you end up just like pulling the lid off like that. So you could end up with coffee all in your lap. There is a wireless mobile phone charging port down there. You've got all your connectivity stuff for your USBs there, and there's more storage in there and a little hole. So you could actually have the cable going from there to your phone in there if you want to keep it hidden away. If you want to really keep things hidden away, there's some secret storage there. The glove box is a bit odd though, so it looks like it's going to be huge, but it's not, because look, the way that's recessed, it means that inside there isn't that much space for your stuff. The e-tron is a really nice car to travel in the back of. There's plenty of room, as you can see. You've got lots of knee room, you can slide your feet under the seat in front to stretch out. I also like the fact that the seat is quite high off the ground. Now, usually in electric cars, because you've got the batteries underneath the floor, they can lower the seat to make sure you've got enough headroom, and that means you can feel like you're travelling around like that. But not in this, it's really, really good. It's like sitting on a bench. And you've still got decent headroom as well, so that is great. Also, you've got a fairly flat floor, so if you need to carry 3 adults, well, that's no problem. Still got headroom here, lots of space for everyone's feet. In terms of fitting a baby seat, the ISOFIX anchor points are easy to locate under the removable plastic covers, though you may lose those. There's plenty of room to lift in a bulky seat base as well, because the doors do open wide enough. And there's enough space back here that you do not need to move the front passenger seat forward if you want to fit a really bulky baby seat. If you fit 2 seats in the back, you will have enough room between them to carry another child or an adult at a push. In terms of other areas of practicality, well, the door bins are huge. You've got some nets on the seat backs as well. There's the armrest, cup holders there. There we go. And some kind of weird, very shallow storage area there, which is actually as furry as an animal. Maybe that's just to relieve stress on longer journeys, give it a stroke. And look at this, you can have through loading if you need to carry longer items than 2 people in the back at once. Connectivity wise, you've got 2 USB sockets there and a 12-volt socket as well. It's pretty nice back here. One of the great things about this e-tron is that its boot is absolutely massive. So it's larger than a Jaguar I-Pace is, it's larger than a Mercedes EQC's. There's a bit of a load lip, but you've got this scuff plate, so look, it doesn't matter when you pull things out, you won't scratch the paintwork, which in this case is a weird kind of blue colour. You do have tethering points here and there to tie things to, hooks to hang things off, special storage areas to stop stuff rolling around the cabin, 12-volt socket if you need somewhere else to charge a mobile device. There's plenty of underfloor storage as well. Look at that, room for my bag. As you can see, there's also space for a spare wheel, but we don't have one in the UK. We just get like kind of instant repair stuff because, quite frankly, we can't be bothered to change a flat tyre. We become useless in the UK. We don't know how to do anything mechanical. Now, if you want to fold down the rear seats, pull these levers, and they fold down pretty much completely flat, and then you can slide things to the front of the car. Actually, come to think of it, that doesn't look completely flat, but you know what I mean, it's like continuous, so it's easy to slide things in. So just how much stuff can you actually fit in this car's boot? Well, with the rear seats folded down, you can carry 2 large boxes and 1 small box, 2 more large boxes, 3 small boxes, and another 3 small boxes. A bike will also fit in with both wheels attached. With the rear seats in place, the boot is wide enough to carry a set of golf clubs, or you can carry 2 suitcases and a baby buggy on its side underneath the load cover. In fact, 8 small boxes will fit under there, and you can fit even more stuff in if you remove that. Now you're probably thinking, this is an electric car, so what's at the front? Some electric gubbins. Though under here there is a sort of frunk or fruit. That's front boot, by the way, if you're talking English. And in it, there's room for all your charging cables, which is handy because it keeps them out the boot. But really, there's more space in the frunk or fruit of the Tesla Model X. In fact, the Tesla Model X is the car to go for if you need a 3rd row of seats as well. In fact, if you want to see more about that car, click up there on the pop-out banner to watch my full in-depth video review of it. And that brings you on to 5 annoying things about this Audi e-tron. Look how far the back windows don't go down. What the f? If you're French, you're not going to like telling people what car you own if you have this, because e-tron in French means turd. Rather than these normal door mirrors, you can actually get the car with some special cameras which stick out on stalks. Then they display the image there, and that kind of looks cool. The problem with the system though is threefold. First of all, looking down there is a little bit odd while you're driving because you're used to looking up here. Secondly, if anyone hits the door mirror, they're going to knock it off and it's going to be very expensive to replace being a camera. And thirdly, it's going to be a real pain for cyclists because often they'll cycle along and they'll actually look in your mirrors to check that you've seen them. They won't be able to do that with cameras and you're more likely to hit them. The design of the armrest on the door, while fine for average sized people like me, it's not so great if you're tall like cameraman Jack, as he found out that when he drives this car and he's sat back there, the way that tapers back means he can't actually lean his elbow on it, and that did his head in. The low cover is really annoying to remove because you have to pull that in and that in at the same time in order to release it, and that it's almost like doing some kind of weird new exercise at the gym, and then when you think, oh no, I'm going to store it under the false floor, you realise that there's absolutely no place under there to do that, so you just have to leave it there. Now I would normally just chuck that because it'd make me mad, but I've changed my ways. Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5. This car has some high-tech doors, so rather than a normal handle that you have to pull and it's operated by a cable, it opens by a switch. It's very easy. Also, it's easy to close because it has soft close. Look, little motor shuts the door for you. Yeah, I like that. I also like the fact that if the ignition is on, normally a car such as this, if you were to open the door, would stop beeping and bonging to warn you that the ignition is on. This one just simply doesn't let you get out straight away. So look, it doesn't work. But if you need to get out in a hurry, you just have to pull it twice and it releases you. Apparently, 90% of the car's braking through normal driving is done using the electric motors to recoup lost energy. The friction brakes are only engaged for 10% of the time when you're needing to brake at rates of more than 0.3 of a G. The car gets adaptive air suspension as standard, and it can change its height by about 8 centimetres. So it's at its highest in off-road mode, and then it's at its lowest in dynamic mode, where it goes lower and lower to make the car more aerodynamic and sporty. It's really cool how the charging port opens, and there's one on this side and another on this side. You can get the car with a special Audi app for your mobile phone, and that lets you do stuff like heat and cool the cabin remotely and also set a specific charging time to make use of lower tariffs. Also, it's the first Audi to get Alexa voice control, so you could in theory control things in your home from your car. The e-tron has 2 electric motors, one at the front, one at the back, so it has 4-wheel drive. Combined, they produce 408 horsepower. It has a 95 kilowatt-hour battery, and if you're to charge that off a 11 kilowatt wall charger, which you can have fitted at your home, that'll take 9 hours to go from empty to full. If you can find a 150 kilowatt fast charger, then you can charge it from empty to full in just 50 minutes, but there aren't any in the UK. One of my favourite things about electric cars is that they give you instant acceleration, which is quite thrilling. They are very, very quick, and you notice that especially around town. I'm going to put this car into dynamic mode, the stability control into sport. I'm going to put the gearbox into sport. I've got my specialist timing gear up there. I'm going to launch it. I'm going to hold it on the brake, floor the throttle, and you get these lines whizzing across there to show that you're in launch control mode. Off we go. It feels quick, and that was 60, but not amazingly quick. So what time did it do? 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds, which is pretty quick, like I say, but it's not as fast or as thrilling as the acceleration you get in a Jaguar I-Pace. And if you click on the pop-out banner up there in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can watch my full in-depth video review of that car. Now, as well as performance, one of the other things I like about electric cars is the fact that you don't have an internal combustion engine just whirring away the whole time, which you do notice quite a lot in town. Another thing I like is that they regenerate energy through braking when you lift off the accelerator. It's actually not the brakes working normally, it's the motor sort of working in reverse, like a dynamo, to put that energy back into the batteries. Now, this car has gear shifter pedals, but they don't actually operate a gearbox. Instead, they can alter the severity of that regenerative braking, so you can basically drive the car on the throttle alone, lift off, and it slows like you're touching the brakes. If you do need to engage the actual brakes, the transition between that regenerative braking and normal braking is quite natural. Now this is a good time to talk about the turning circle, because it's not the best, but it's not terrible. It's actually slightly better than a Q7, though that is quite a long car. It does help that the steering is light. My favourite thing about this car though is the suspension. It's blooming brilliant over bumps. It's so super comfy. Visibility is quite good as well because you're sat up high because it's an SUV. You get a bit of a blind spot there, and there's a bit of a big blind spot at the very back as well, the rear pillars, which can affect things when you're trying to park, which is what I'm going to try and do now. I'm using the standard fit reversing camera, but I've also got the upgraded 360-degree cameras, which I would recommend to you because they do just help you quite a bit, and you can alter the view of them as well to have a look around and go to 3D mode, which is then like playing a computer game, and that does help out. Right, I'm going to do a top-down view because that'll be better, and then go forward. The light steering is really helping here, and I should, in a couple of moves, have nailed this. It looked wrong at first, but it was fine. I'll tell you what would have been helpful, if that mirror had just dipped down automatically so I could see the curb, because you don't want to scratch these big alloys. Well, there you go. It wasn't too difficult. So this is quite an easy car to park, and you can get an auto park feature where it will do it all for you if you're lazy. The e-tron's also really nice to drive on the motorway. It's super quiet even when you're going quickly. This one especially so because it is fitted with the £500 optional acoustic glass. Just keeps out all the wind noise. And then if you need to suddenly overtake, you've got that instant throttle response. I'm doing 50. I'm doing 70. It's really quick. It's not great for your range though. So Audi claims this thing will do about 250 miles on a full charge. I'm averaging more like 200 miles on a charge, but that's all right. It feels planted at speed, and you can obviously get that kind of autopilot system where it will automatically brake and steer to keep you in lane and work in stop-start traffic as well, which is nice and handy. Takes the sting at long distances. Finally, let's see what the e-tron is like on a twisty road. It's a heavy car, which does hamper it a bit through the bend, so it leans quite a bit, and even if you put it in dynamic mode, it doesn't really help it. You just get slightly heavier steering, which isn't actually very nice. But it's okay, you know, it does a good enough job for this kind of car, and you've got four-wheel drive grip as well, which does help. It's just if you get a little bit too carried away, then the stability control kicks in, like it's about to now, and goes, ah! Oh, what are you doing? Oh, no! And yeah, it starts to run wide and get a bit out of shape. But you won't be driving like that anyway, because your family's going to hate it. I'm just doing it because I'm a motoring journalist, and it's my job, all right? So then what's my final verdict on the new Audi e-tron? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist the e-tron. It is the most luxurious feeling electric SUV. Okay, so look, oh, look at that coming out of there. Look at that space. Oh, you know. Go on then, what are you doing? Well, I think you should shortlist the Audi EQC. It's basically, oh yeah, e-tron.